Hello everyone and welcome back to another Pony&Wolf Productions video. My name is visualbrony and today we are reading the story AJ Sleeps In by Someguy987. It's apparently just his or her first attempt to write a slice of life story, and I found that intriguing. So yeah, I've myself slept in quite a few times. So yeah, so let's get this to world, shouldn't we? Also, don't forget that if you want to help us keep eating, there are Patreon links down in the description below. And don't forget, there's also these awesome perks that you get, like download links for all the stuff I do. And there's a merch store where you can get amazing t-shirts, mugs, water bottles, bath mats, even shower curtains and all that stuff. So you can have watch you shower, you know, so... Let's get into the meat of the story, because I'm fairly certain that I'm annoying or creeping you out right now. It was a cold, dark December morning. The brisk mountain air was punctuated by the frosts that had formed on the large farmhouse. Within the four walls, the air bit with force. There were 4 occupants, each within their respective rooms. The elderly green mare in the first room on the left. Her youngest granddaughter across the hall from her. A thick, strong, brick-red stallion in the back left room was softly snoring, an old ragged doll held between his forelegs. Finally, in the back right room laid an orange mare with a blonde mane. Thick quilts met her chin while her face lay exposed and vulnerable to the frigid, indifferent, still air outside. The kilts had been tucked in around her with no gaps to allow the cruel cold around her to enter and nip at her body. An alarm clock stood silent guard over young mare each and every night, hands silently ticking over many countless nights. The clock now read 5:15, and in a few minutes it would begin the arduous ritual it had been designed for. The metal cogs and springs that lay within had slowly been turning in accordance with the springs that powered it. The second hand was performing a quick lap around the face of the clock while being poorly mirrored by the minutes and hour hands. Again and again the 3 hands continued this race until they now read 5:29. New gears began to turn and fire while a bit of neglect impeded their progress. Stopping not, more and more struggled against their cruel, lazy brethren, until finally their task was accomplished and bells were ringing in their victory. An orange hoof shot out from beneath the kilts and quickly silenced the whining alarm clock. Immediately the legs that had performed the deed shot back in, the delicate equilibrium now shattered. The orange mare slowly attempted to creak an eye open, as her mouth quickly became aware of the repugnant taste in her mouth. Her eye was open and bleary, senses becoming sharper, shaking off the dullness that was drowsiness. She saw nothing. She could not see past the impassable blanket of darkness that had blockaded her vision. Not the roof, not her kilt, not even the ancient clockwork contraptions that had awoken her were invisible. Only the black that seemed to carry the cold and the stillness of death embraced her in the still moonless night. Blood now pumped more vigorously to her face, and she had now become aware of the biting cold assaulting her face. Instinctively she drew the covers up above her face, only to leave her feet exposed. The 2 extremes of her body became engaged in a quick tug-of-war as neither wished to be exposed to the cold. Before the indifferent nippiness could claim all the warmth trapped within, the 2 extremities agreed upon a spot to both of their liking with only minimal loss of heat. An orange eyelid lazily closed around a deep green iris and plunging the mare into the darkness that was her mind. Her eyes at rest, she was able to discern faint creaks in the distance, followed by low murmurs and hoofsteps coming down the hallway. Before her mind could register these new stimuli, the desire for sleep suddenly took hold, and she was whisked away to an ethereal plane lying on the delicate edge between sleep and consciousness. she dreamt of simple things. Of warmer weather free from the chains of cold, and lazy picnics within the tepid rays of the sun. Images filled her mind of times past, time spent with family now long since passed from this world. Hope and sadness filled her in equal measure as she thought of the reunion she would share with these specters. A tear fell onto her pillow with that thought. Now her thoughts shifted to that of her friends. Nothing but colorful blurs as the countryside raced by, and the fields spread out before her. Orchards of apples, fields of corn, and every other piece of vegetation imaginable existed in this place. She felt at peace. Her life's work was passed over with a glance. Instead, her eyes fell upon a red and white checkered cloth spread upon the grass. Now she spied familiar shapes emerging from the ether that was her mind. Distant family not seen nearly enough, members long since gone, and the ones she was lucky enough to see every day. Finally, colors of purple, white, pink, yellow and blue began to take shape. The orange mare with the blonde mane was vaguely aware of the sounds entering her mind. Siblings fighting here, wooden creaks there. None of them were enough to rouse her from her unconsciousness. The passage of time had gone ignored, and now her dreamlike state had been altered. She could feel warm rays brushing against her face, and the smell of warm butter and syrup wafted up to her nose. Prying one heavy eyelid open, she glanced around the room, gaze falling upon the clock she had silenced so long ago. Her heart sank. The face of the clock now read 7:25. She had slept in. No matter, today was Sunday, and regardless, it had been her day off.
Apple Bloom, go wake up Sleeping Beauty, would ya?
Echoed an ancient, well-worn voice from downstairs. The orange mare heard several rapid hoofsteps up the stairs and approached her door. The door swung open, and in the doorway stood her younger sister, Apple Bloom.
Hey, AJ, Granny says, I'm up. Just give me a few minutes to get pretty and I'll be down.
Lazily, an orange hoof poked out from beneath the blanket and into the frigid air. Bracing herself, the blonde-maned earth pony ripped the covers off of her body and immediately regretted it. Her breath quickly condensed in the air around her, shooting puffs of steam from her muzzle. With mounting caution, she gently places the hoof upon the cold hardwood floor. Slowly she embraced the indifference around her and made her way to the restroom. The aluminium faucet head proved to be difficult this morning by spewing water, which miraculously didn't have chunks of ice in it. After her morning ritual had been complete, her footsteps could be heard echoing down the hall and into the kitchen. As she neared the dining room, warmth filled the air alongside the familiar aromas of butter and syrup. Before her sat two bickering siblings with half-eaten stalks of pancakes in front of either. Between the two of them, however, waiting for her, stood a stack of pancakes, a half-melted part of butter sitting on top, as golden brown syrup dripped off of the sides, glistening in the light flittering through the kitchen window.
Morning, sleepyhead. Have any good dreams last night?
Asked the elderly green mare currently occupying the stove.
I sure did.
It is once again time for comment time with me, Luna, the comment kitty. Like and subscribe so that my can openers can buy me more amazing toys and treats. Sometimes I allow them to buy some food and stuff for themselves too, but only after I had my own share first. Also, don't forget the merch store and the Patreon in the description down below. That way you can get stuff earlier or support the channel and get amazing merchandise. This story is very relatable, considering how many times a day I actually nap. That is also why I sneakily unplug my papa's phone every night, so that his alarm does not go off and I can keep sleeping on his face. It's actually more comfortable than you might think. Now go away, there is a nap with my name on it.